Okay.
No, don't do that.
Hoots, mon.
No, really don't.
We've waited so long.
Then you have waited in vain.
You explain your presence.
No, I don't think so.
Will you identify yourself?
The correct form of address is
Pull to open.
Pull to open.
Yes, and what do you do? We are not amused.
I don't know what you are, the two of you, but I know that you consort with stars.
Yeah, any chance you can hurry up?
Here come the drums!
Hello and welcome to Pull to Open. This is the only podcast howling mad enough to take on the entire television program known as Doctor Who in deliciously random order, full moon or no full moon. And I am, for at least 27 days out of the month, Pete Paschal.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Hootsman, and I am Dr. Jamie McCrimmon, and I've been chasing this wee podcast over hill and over dale, and it's a wee timorous beastie of a podcast called Pull to Open. No, I'm not. I'm Chris Taylor. We're not doing the bad Scottish accents. We're not even doing the good David Tennant Scottish accent on this podcast, or the David Tennant trying to do a bad Scottish accent. We are, as if
the trying to do a Scottish but coming out Irish accent, so we're not doing that anymore either.
Scots-Irish. It's you know, it's in the same family. But anyway, here we are. We have been on this random adventure over hill and over dale, chasing the randomizer as it sends us to a variety of animal-themed places, which may become relevant. But let's, Pete, why don't you give the fine folks a rundown on where we've been recently?
Previously on Pull to Open. Alrighty, animals. There's been lots of animals.
There have been.
3 stories ago, there were prehistoric animals, several of them, in Invasion of the Dinosaurs. But I will point out, at least one of them was not a dinosaur. Sorry, it's nitpicky. The pterodactyls aren't dinosaurs, people. Keep that in mind whenever you watch Power Rangers too. But we had to hightail it out of there because those dinosaurs were hot on our heels. We went somewhere else with kind of an animal. I guess it was kind of a half animal, half man, which might be thematically consistent with where we are.
It's famous for looking like a giant bird, and it was described by the master as a dog, as his dog. At one point, that was Kronos.
I was actually thinking of the role played by one David Prowse in that adventure.
Oh, yeah. David Prowse, Darth Vader just show up as the Minotaur. So I guess that is kind of a pet. But if we're looking at more of a dog theme, the Master describes Kronos, a.k.a. the Time Monster, as his dog. So, so Invasion of the Dinosaurs, Time Monster. The Randomizer does love Pertwee. If you've not listened to us for a while, that is the deal. The Randomizer's favorite doctor is now Pertwee, I think by number and by percentage done. And that doubleheader was just one not so fine example of how it
Randomizer
just really
also looks the doggies, apparently, because it took us to one of the final, close to the final stories of the original classic series run in the Sylvester McCoy era. In the somewhat happy, but not so actually happy colonies in the Earth's future in the Happiness Patrol, and there was not so much of a happy ending for the dog in that one. Not that it was a dog, but it's very dog-like. Fifi.
Fifi, yes, who I described as a refugee from Jim Henson's workshop. Basically what she looks like, but she dies in the end. It's all about pet death. Go back and listen to our podcast on that, which we were incredibly happy. But there was also some sadness buried in there, very appropriate for the Happiness Patrol. In any case, what did the Randomizer do after showing us dinosaurs, a bird that the Master described as a dog, and a dog that was sort of not really a dog called Fifi? Where did it take us?
Well, it rolled the dice, and it came up a pair of 2s. It is Series 2, Episode 2, Tooth and Claw.
Hey, I only just got that. Costume idea for your next convention, folks. Tooth and Claw. Just like a werewolf, but with a with a 2-1.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. That's easy.
The one thing missing from this story for sure. Spoiler alert to our review. We're Tooth and Claw. We're at series 2 of New Who, David Tennant's first season and one of his first episodes. It's fun to go back to this one.
Yes,
lots of stuff coming together and getting seeded here, which is kind of neat.
Indeed, including certain institutions set up by this lady over my shoulder. You can see her on YouTube and Spotify. That's right. It's the woman from the Faceless Ones. No, it's Queen Victoria.
But could be both.
The woman from the Faceless Ones. When she was Pauline Collins, who plays Queen Victoria in this, when she was in the Faceless Ones, there was a chance that she was going to be the next companion, starting with Evil of the Daleks. In other words, she was nearly Victoria.
Crazy.
And then she ends up playing Victoria in New Who, but the Victoria.
Doctor Who's just this amazing trick deck. Man, you just pull out any card and it's just going to wow you. I mean, that's what I love about doing this podcast.
Exactly.
It's the trick deck that never runs out of tricks.
That's right. The randomizer is shuffling the deck, and I cannot believe it's come up with so many dog-like references and pet references, and there's a definite theme here. I mean, we're going to be talking about a very, very bad dog indeed, together with the original bad wolf, you might say.
Well, true. Well, speaking of keeping with themes, we're going to look into the themes of some other things. Those might be actually emojis.
No.
Those emojis that form the Doctor Who title from somewhere in the entire canon. That's right. We're jumping to the Whomoji challenge.
Oh my god. You're only going to get me to do this if you have a bunch of fighting monks who know Kung Fu. Oh no. Oh boy, here they come.
Well, before we get to this week's Whomoji challenge, I do want to do a bit of a special edition on our previous Whomoji, which might have an alternate ending.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Just want to get that out here before we get going. So, if you recall last week's Whomoji, it was...
I don't, but go ahead.
Well, for the viewers and you, it started with an elephant, and then a boat, then an eye, and then a mouth.
Yeah.
Now, that could apply to a couple of different stories.
Huh. Okay.
So, one of them, which was the answer to ours, was Thin Ice, which was a 12th Doctor adventure. Starts with the elephant. It's all about the Frost Fair, this giant creature, which has, it's mostly told through an eye and a mouth.
That's right.
However, there is another potential answer to this Whomoji.
Okay.
And before I tell you what it is, I'll give you, I'll let you go ahead, and if you get it, we won't have to do this week's Whomoji challenge.
Oh my god, wow. So if I just get a little nick, just a little bite from this Whomoji, from this ancient host, then it'll be fine.
And just to keep limits on this, I'll give you 3 guesses.
Oh god. I mean, elephants on a boat? That's like dinosaurs on a spaceship. I remember I guessed Carnival of Monsters because I was thinking boat, and that's what led you to say Carnival, Frost Fair, Thin Ice. That's how I got it from last time. But I am, to coin a phrase, I'm totally all at sea on what else could have an elephant on a boat. So, yeah, I'm just going to say shruggy.
This might be one you haven't seen. So, we haven't done it for the podcast.
Almost certainly haven't seen it.
I'll give you 3 hints. If we haven't done it for the podcast, it's classic Who.
Yeah.
And the boat features more in this one. And that it's not literally a boat, but there is it's a big factor in this one.
I mean, that makes me think it's Troutony, because Troughton had all those sea-based adventures.
I've done all my hints.
Sea, boat, sea devils? No, I'm sorry. Even with your extra hints, I'm not grabbing this one. So
it actually could have been the Ark.
Oh, not one I've seen.
Long
know
story
anything
there.
about.
I just wanted to give the folks who commented on YouTube a little bit of closure on this, rather than sort of wait for the arc to come up in our in our thing. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to give you a little behind the scenes of how the sausage is made on the Whomoji challenge too. So we get some of these through comments. We get some of them through reviews. That's the proper way to submit Whomojis. But sometimes people submit these without an answer key, right? So it's up to us to kind of figure it out. And when I say us, I mean me.
Yes, because obviously I can't figure it out unless I get my memory erased afterwards.
Yeah. So in this case, I might have figured it out in the wrong direction here, because I was so certain it was thin ice. And then basically had some commenters on YouTube come in and say, "Hey, wait, I was certain it was the arc." And it's like I looked at it like, that actually could be the arc. It probably is. So the only way we'll know, and I was waiting for him to comment, but he hasn't. Rio Fitz. If you're listening, please clarify which one this should be, even though I think it equally applies pretty well to both.
Mayo. Come in, Mr. Fitz.
Yeah. So unfortunately, sir, you
here.
did not get it. So that means you are in for a brand new Whomoji challenge, which I will say might be a little challenging. The one we just revamped.
That's okay. I'm very stoic. I'm very used to suffering, and I'm definitely not going to be amused.
All right. We're going to get through this because we're kind of doubling up on these. We're going to go fast. Are you ready, sir?
Ready.
All right. The first one is a car.
Okay.
Second one is an iPhone or a smartphone with the arrow. You know how you have that where it's like the arrow pointing to the phone?
Okay. Car and a phone.
Next one is a map of the world.
The sat-nav of death. Go ahead.
Then it is a gas station, or like what do you call them?
Like the little gas thing with the things that you stick in the car are. I know what you mean.
Tanks.
Yeah, there we go. I know cars.
Yeah, it's a pump. The fuel
it's
pump.
It's a pump. Gas pump. That's it.
Gas pump.
Gas pump, boy. Speak
really
American.
Bad at the Whomoji challenge if I were on and then the last one is an explosion. I'm going to paste all that in the chat.
Okay, gas car, gas pump, explosion, sat nav. Wait a second. This is wasn't this the Sontaran plan with the sat navs? Is it the Sontaran stratagem Poison Sky?
It's the Sontaran stratagem in the Poison Sky. Yes! Nicely done.
The only Doctor Who story to make sat nav the villain, right?
Sat nav?
Sat nav. That's what they call it in the UK. GPS.
Right. Yeah. So it's like Atmos. Yeah, that was what it was called. And it was both, like, I don't know how you would sort of sell this as like, it's both a GPS and a fuel non-polluter thingy. I forget exactly how. Honestly, I forget how they completely said it in there. Maybe it was just the thing you attach to your gas tank, but...
Yeah, it was a pretty wild scheme, as I recall, that the Sontarans were into there. But yeah, no, you can't fool me. I've seen that one. I haven't seen the arc, but yes, thank you. Remember, you too can contribute a review and a Whomoji challenge at the same time. You go straight to the front of the line. You will not be directed by Atmos, but you will receive your Whomoji in the codex that we keep of all Doctor Who stories. That stays there for all time, people, all time. Your Whomoji will last longer than Torchwood.
And I just wanted to shout out CT Tig, because this was the last one in his batch. You can submit more than one. You can submit several Whomojis via the Apple Podcast app reviews. So go ahead, drop them all in there, and we will feature them on a future episode of Pull to Open.
CT Tig, my old nemesis, we meet again, and I think you may need to come up with more difficult ones, sir.
Awesome. Well, it was fun to meet him for real again at the LI Who a number of weeks back. So I hope to see you again at the next one.
That's right. He was there at the taping. He saw us use, I think, one of his Whomoji for the Whomoji challenge we did live on stage. Go back and listen to that episode. Anyway, you can also, if you're on Spotify, if you're using a Spotify burner account, like some of our fans are on the socials, you can pull from the bottom of the screen. That's right, it's a poll to open. You'll see a poll right down there that will allow you to vote on Tooth or Claw. Right now, no, there's a whole rating system. We'll explain it at the end of the show. But we have some preliminary results. These polls stay open for days and days and days, over 1,500 days. We have some results from the voting on Invasion of the Dinosaurs.
Do we ever?
And my goodness, what a result, Pete! This is wild. I've never seen a result like this.
Unprecedented. So here we are, Invasion of the Dinosaurs. A lot of votes came in on this one, and the clear winner is the Viscount Banger. That is one of the best of the best. And I'm just going to
say is, thank goodness we're doing the actual ratings that will go in the Codex. And that this is just an open vote. But I invite you, any of you out there, if you think that Invasion of the Dinosaurs was perhaps not the best of the best of Doctor Who, we need your vote in this poll. Please go tell your friends, set up 17 burner accounts, and vote now.
I think what's happened is that a friend of ours, Dave Kitchen from the Doctor Who show, has proven his power over people's burner accounts is greater than ours, perhaps, because he told us on Twitter that he was definitely going to create a Spotify account just to vote this a Viscount Banger because he enjoys it so much.
He does?
And so apparently his crew followed suit. So this is, or maybe, I don't know. Maybe he just pushed it over the top. But
is this Invasion of the Doctor Who show?
We'll take it. But a lot of people liked it a lot, which is, like, again, I was pleasantly surprised by a lot of the things that I liked about it, and I think it starts very strong, even though the dinosaurs aren't. And so there's a lot to like in Invasion of the Dinosaurs. I don't think it's a turkey by any stretch of the imagination.
That's right. It's not Invasion of the Turkeys. But yes, we do. Second place is a Professor Hater, which was your rating.
That was my rating. Yep.
That was your rating.
Tried something.
They tried something. They very definitely tried something with those dinosaurs. My goodness. Clearly not CGI. But clearly good enough to be talked about by Sylvester McCoy in Happiness Patrol, as we noted recently. That's one of the wildest randomizer connections I've seen in a while. Third place goes to half of my ratings. I do love to do the hybrids. The Zarbi. I voted for Professor Zarbi. The Zarbi, so bad it's good. But so it's still all to play for. So go back, listen to our podcast, think about what you would vote a story that has dinosaurs kissing. And
smushed together by some child hands just off screen.
Yeah, now Kith. So go vote in that, and you can also support us. You can pop a coin in our tin cup. You can donate on Spotify if you scroll to the bottom of the show notes for the link. $1, $5, $10, whatever you think we're worth. You can be a true companion on YouTube. What do you get if you're a true companion?
You get access to our exclusive emojis, which you can use in all the chats. You will get the podcast early, for sure. Yes. And these days, it's usually about a week early is what you get.
Wow.
So you get a whole 7 days early. And
I feel like you're going to get it earlier than we record it. And then you can just call us and tell us what we did. And then we have to sort of, fulfill the time loop by actually repeating exactly what you say. You can do that if you're a true companion. Apparently you have bad wolf powers.
And don't forget, you get our eternal gratitude. So please take that into account as well as you consider becoming a true companion. That would be amazing. If for whatever reason you don't want to go to YouTube, there's always Spotify. You can support us there. You can scroll to the bottom of the show notes in any link and donate whatever you want. It actually lets you do, if you think we're only worth 99 cents a month or what have you, that's fine. Every little bit helps and goes to our fund to acquire the crown jewels.
Yeah, that's right. We're setting up the Cohen-Orr Fund. And this is, it's got a long way to go, but we're hopeful. We're optimistic. We're positive. We think we can get the Kohinoor back to India. If we can just crowdfund this enough, if we can just talk enough about how you could save a child's life. Sound like an infomercial. No, yes, go be a true companion. We will also dub you Sir. Insert your name here of TARDIS, or Dame, insert your name here of the Powell Estate. Whatever you like, we will officially dub you it. We'll even do a video chat for you if you like. We'll do a sword on each shoulder.
I see what you're doing now.
Yeah.
You're stacking on gifts and more gifts and more gifts,
That's right.
and just whatever's popping into your head, so you can avoid what's coming next.
Wait, why?
Because
What's coming next?
It's time to transition to our commentary. But before we do that, we must summarize what happened in this story in record time. We have to claw our way through the plot. Before we can sink our teeth into serious commentary. Yes, that's right. It's time for TLDW.
Hey!
Too long didn't watch. Too long Doctor Who. And the person doing it this week is you, sir.
Yes, it is.
Taylor.
Tooth long, Doctor Who. Tooth long. Yes, this story is not really that long in the tooth. Although it's how many years ago
it's
now? 2006,
so we're almost to 20 years. It's like 19 years old now.
Okay, that's pretty long in the tooth. I don't know about the size of its claws, but yeah, let's find out. Let's plunge in.
Okay, are you ready for this?
Never, but
the sun's
yes.
going down and the moon is rising, so
that's right. Wait,
doesn't matter. It's just coming at you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Alrighty, folks, it is time for the official pull to open summary.
Wait a second. Well, how long do I get?
Oh, that's right. We haven't said that. Well, this is a new Who episode, and every new Who episode we allot a full minute to summarize the plot.
Holy crap.
Remember, there's no notes. You're going to have to get out of all your windows. You can't be looking at a plot summary. You can't have the thing on repeat in the background. You can't have someone signing the plot to you anywhere. No ChatGPT in your head.
I have someone with a telescope and a diamond just over there kind of flashing it to me on the inside of my eyelids. No, I'm doing this blind. We're doing it live.
Right.
Let's do it. I'm ready to get lycanthropous. Is that even a word? I'm ready.
Yes.
It is now. All right, bring it on.
All right, let's bring it home. It is time for the official pull to open summary of Tooth and Claw happening in 3, 2, 1, go.
Bunch of monks evade the Torchwood estate and they take it over, and we don't know why. But then the Doctor's trying to take Rose to an Ian Dury concert in 1979. Shows up 1879 instead in Scotland. And look, it's Queen Victoria, and they're trying to get her to say we are not amused, but she doesn't until the very end. And anyway, they go to this Torchwood estate because the Queen needs to go there because there's been some hitch in her plans. But anyway, they know they've got the host in the basement. These monks, the host is going to turn into a werewolf, and they got people hiding there in the basement, and Rose interviews the host, the wolf, discovers that it's come in through light or something. Anyway, the werewolf chases people throughout the house, and the Queen's also got the Kohinoor with her, and she discovers that Albert has had it refined and put in the telescope that's in this house that has all these prisms in it that's going to reflect the light of the moon that's going to kill the werewolf. It does that, but she got nicked by the werewolf, and she then sets up Torchwood and knights the Doctor.
Pretty good. That
has
was a mad dash at the end there. Wow.
And has a weird reversal at the end. She dubs them a knight and a dame, and then says basically GTFO. Don't know how she knows that they can even do it.
But they
it's
can
a little
even
weird.
leave?
Yeah. Well,
they just get on boat. I think they figured,
But they're not even being escorted to the TARDIS.
Right. They're just trusting them to go. It's fair. Yeah.
Well, let's start there with the ending, because, of course, this is it's not the first episode to mention Torchwood.
Right. Which is kind of important, but go ahead.
Yes, it is, because it was mentioned in the Christmas invasion.
Right.
It is the organization that destroys the Sycorax ship. And they say Torchwood within the Doctor's earshot, and he's surprisingly incurious about it in Christmas Invasion. And now we get to see the origin of it. This is the origin story. And I always thought when I first watched this in 2006, and I thought again now on a rewatch, that is such a weird pivot at the end on the Queen's behalf. Like, we're in this knighting scene. You know, it's all funny. It all feels like a traditional sort of denouement.
Yeah.
It's got that vibe to it. They're sort of smirking as they're being knighted and damed.
Yeah, I kind of actually
and
like
then
it.
suddenly she's like,
Yeah.
but there's no, I don't know. It feels a bit sudden to me. But go ahead.
Well,
what do you think
that's
of it?
kind of the point. It's supposed to feel sudden and weird and a flip. But I will say, like, this idea might be a little tired at this point after all the superhero movies we've had. But the whole idea that, like, okay, while we're grateful for you doing this sort of saving the day stuff, that we recognize that perhaps you being this super powerful person who can help us is an escalation. Like, it's basically inviting challenge. And they've talked about this in the Avengers movies, most obviously. You know, Captain America Civil War, and a little bit in well, I think that's the main one, where basically the whatever the chords or what in that universe are, and they talk about, like, you know, I think it's Vision who actually has the line, "Our power invites challenge." And this has been sort of a recurring thing in a lot of superhero books, actually. And I actually remember, I'm old enough to have watched the original Flash TV show. And I think it's actually used very well in that one, where it's like, it's kind of like the real world up until the Flash shows up, and then everyone else needs a costume because now he's a superhero. So that basically supervillains rise to challenge the Flash. And
which
it's
is
kind of
also,
interesting.
So gets to that as well at various other points. It doesn't, you know, it's not only the inspiration for Torchwood, but, like, there's a number of times that it's pointed out to the Doctor, like, you know, none of this would have happened if you hadn't been here. You know,
exactly.
The caretaker recently, it was one example. He was responsible ultimately for all that Artron energy. So yeah, the Doctor doesn't really clean up after himself.
And it's kind of
Queen
like
Victoria recognizes that.
I think both those of us, I mean, most of us who watch, I mean, we don't really fully buy into this, even though it's interesting to think about, because it's like, well, obviously the Doctor's there and he's helping, and it's good to have some power on your side if you're helping. But I do like things that will explore, like, what does that do sort of big picture wise. And you know, like, again, I wouldn't say, like, all of the stuff that superhero movies have done has been great around this, but I also do kind of like the line, this is becoming an Avengers, like, podcast, but it's like, where, like, Iron Man says something like, isn't the point of winning to disarm? Like, and then we all go home, which is kind of like, it's hard to think of, like, a time where that happens, right? Like, you get big and powerful to fed off whatever evil there is, and it's like, oh yeah, now we're just going to, like, go back to not having weapons. Well, I don't think that works that way. And so, you know, you could argue, you know, this is sort of how the world just works, and it sort of goes in cycles or whatever. But it, again, this is why I think it's actually a really sort of smart thing to put in here. And it felt fresh at the time. You know,
did.
like, it hadn't really,
You look back on it, and it's kind of, there's a charmingly amateur approach to the setup for this season arc. You know, it's like, one of the characters is now going to explain the entire season arc. I've set up the Torchwood Institute, and they'll be waiting for you, Doctor. And then it just sort of, like, you know, does it get mentioned again until Army of Ghosts?
I think it is. I can't remember. It might have been, like, in the background of a school reunion. Yeah, it might have been. But it was. Oh no, they mentioned Torchwood on Pete's World too. In Rise of the Cybermen. Yeah.
Yes. So Pete's World comes next after this. It's that Rise of the Cybermen and Age of Steel. The original version of the script, back when it was just called Queen Victoria, had an ending where she dies unexpectedly from the werewolf bite, and that's how they get into Pete's World. That's how Pete's World is created, which is, you know, it's interesting to think of the alternate universe where that would have been the case. And then I guess you would have had to have founded Torchwood some other way.
I'm curious what RTD would have done today with audiences that are more sophisticated and perhaps ready for that level of complexity. you think about a script in the years since, and I guess the one that I always sort of come back to is the one in Flux. It's Once Upon Time, which is very complex.
Yeah.
But you end up you're willing to keep up with it, and as I said in our Flux review, it actually improved the most for me on second watch because it is trying to do something much more elaborate. And it's, in other words, I think Doctor Who fans can handle it now. You know, like, and maybe they always could if they had sort of done this sort of offshoot from this episode, sort of set up a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
It might have made it even more memorable. And even if it was confusing at the time or weird, it feels like it would have been something we would have come around to. As it is, it's kind of like the script's much more basic in terms of what it does.
It is a little basic. I mean, okay, so let's talk a little background to this. I mean, this is definitely the back of a napkin era of New Who. It's like they are, you know, old Who was poor in budget. New Who was poor, at least in the first few seasons, in time.
Yeah.
In the time that they had. This was an idea that they had. Queen Victoria werewolves, like not a lot of werewolves in Doctor Who. Not a lot of Queen Victoria, and obviously Charles Dickens was a huge hit in season 1 in The Unquiet Dead. So this is basically The Unquiet Dead Part 2, you know, right down to Rose meeting another maid and discussing stuff with her, getting the plot from the maid. She's on it now. But yes, this is a result of the you know, the sort of the fantastic stunt casting of that, and it's going back to that. But he gave it to a writer who is still nameless, who turned in a script about Queen Victoria hunting vampires, not werewolves, vampires, in Buckingham Palace. And I'm sure through his head went the images of the aliens in Aliens in London, World War III, chasing through Downing Street, and how bad that looked. And they were definitely trying to get past that, right?
Yeah, well, that was more of a technical thing in that when they were doing a chase in this one, he felt the need to make up for the ultra slow chase in Aliens of London World War III, which I think we even commented at the time. It's like kind of like, you know, you see the CG Slitheen come through and then you do another shot. And it's like, where are they? Like, they're going so fast. How could that possibly have evaded them? And so now this is much more technically, in terms of the chase, well put together. Honestly, not just in terms of the chase. In terms of this episode, I think, even though, yes, you're right, they were challenged on time, I think this is kind of almost the upgrade episode in that they really, and this is not the only one, but they really went for it in a few scenes to emphasize what a great modern show Doctor Who could be, which at this point in the show's run, we'd seen some of. I mean, certainly it's a modern show in series 1, but here is like that cold open is like, whoa, like that is banger level cold open.
1,000%. We mentioned it. Go back and listen to our episode on cold opens. We mentioned this one as a favorite. I can't remember if we actually put it in our top 10, but I feel it deserves to be there, especially after seeing. So I watched the Doctor Who Confidential and seeing what the director Euros Lyn did to do this. He basically mixed Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. He was. Oh, I love it when he says he was inspired by. No, dude, you ripped it off. No, but he did that. But then he added in the filming style of 28 Days Later. That really fast shutter speed.
Right.
thing.
That was very trendy at the time. Yeah.
It was very trendy at the time, and the combo of the two, I don't think I've ever seen done like this. And it's such an extraordinary, like, gets your heart pumping moment. Even though when you sit back and analyze it, you know, between those quick cuts, the monks aren't really doing much. They're just like leaping in the air and showing off their dancing with sticks. And it was apparently a mix of a lot of different fighting styles. And they use wire work to get them to jump and everything.
But it's great wire work. I mean, just that whole slow-mo jump over. You're just kind of like, whoa, what am I watching here? Like, I've never seen this before in Doctor Who.
And it's actually so Doctor, like, even though it's something new, it's so Doctor Who in the sense of, like, this is weird fever dream territory. This is someone has clearly had the idea of, like, Christian monks and, like, monks from East Asia, and, their connection to Kung Fu and various fighting forms.
Also,
why not put the two together?
The deep red robes is really nice. I mean, it's just such a nice color to use because it's so, like, it signals stuff right away. And then when you see them later, you understand the menace immediately. And it sort of has, like, you think about things like the Emperor Guards in Return of the Jedi who don't do anything. But I mean, like, that sort of stark visual is very helpful.
Yes. They made up for it in Last Jedi, but yes.
True.
That kind of thing. But wow, what an opening scene! Even though it's not actually much of a fight in fight terms, it just gets the blood pumping and really establishes what Euroslin is doing here, which is taking a meh kind of RTD script and, like, making it really, like, oh my god, like, and the dark interiors, it's so well lit.
Gorgeous!
It looks amazing. It's very sort of Curse of Peladon. In that sense, right?
It's definitely one of them where the director mattered a lot. Like, he brought so much to these scenes, like, because the lighting, particularly in the dinner scene, which is, like, really all exposition. They're just kind of explaining the background of the guy, I think Sir Robert's dad, and what Torchwood is, and all this other, the Legend of the Wolf, of course.
Yes.
All of that.
Well, by the way, we'll have a full history corner later, but I just wanted to interject here. The Legend of the Wolf is, the werewolf. Someone says, a wolf kills a sheep and someone blames, or a child kills a sheep, someone blames a wolf, or something like that. There had been no wolves in Scotland, or indeed the entire United Kingdom, since 1700. There's a plaque in Scotland where they killed the last wolf. So, no, he wouldn't have said that at the dinner table. Anyway, please continue.
Just that the director did such an outstanding job in that scene with the lighting and the dark backgrounds and the glints of moonlight. I mean, it's supposed to be moonlight, like on the backs of their chairs, and it sort of intercuts with Rose, who is also with the scared maid that we mentioned earlier, and that is a neat little sort of urgency to that scene. It all just really, really works. It's just explaining stuff, but you're right there, like you're hanging on every word. Like, and again, it's like, I don't want to take too much away from Davis. He did a great job on the script with this particular material, but, like, the director really brought it out of the page and just, like, oh wow, this is so cool. Also, the added tension of just having Father Angelo there, essentially, like, you're kind of like, okay, there's the bad guys, like, right with them. So
Father Angelo, aka the creepy guy from Game of Thrones season 2 in Karth. Which I think it was not long after this that he did that, and he was just, like, in demand after this role, and you can see why. Like, Euroslin made his career. This guy's career looks extraordinarily evil in this. It's just amazing. But yes, to go back to what the director, we don't really often talk about the director on Pull to Open, but my goodness, he really pulled it out here, and that opening fight scene, it teeters close to the brink of parody and being funny. Like, if you had a laugh track at the moment where they ripped off the robes, it would still work, right? If you just made this a sketch in a British comedy show, it would kind of work that way. But there's another scene where it does tip over into parody, which is where they're furiously reading in the library.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out how to defeat the werewolf. And the doctor's like, oh, we've got this library around us. And it's like, yeah, educational Doctor Who. We love libraries, kids. Libraries are exciting. And there's the way that he cuts the looking through books scene is almost the same way that he cut, like, the fight scene, the monks at the beginning, right? It's like, it's a bit over the top.
It's a little over the top.
I appreciate what he was trying to do.
Agreed, but exactly. I appreciate it. I think it's cool. So you can sort of see the Buffy influence here, right? Because this was always sort of what they would be doing in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Russell T Davies has always said, like, he's kind of inspired in part, at least, by Buffy in that format. And you get the great line from the Doctor: "Best weapons in the world. We're in a library. Boom, we got books."
Yes,
which is, like, great. That's very Doctor Who.
It is a great line. Speaking of great lines from the Doctor, RTD, one of RTD's favorite lines that he ever wrote is in this. Do you care to hazard a guess at which one it is? It's fairly...
It's not when he says he's Jamie McCrimmon, is it?
No, no, but that was RTD. Originally, he was like, I'm going to come up with like a Scottish John Smith, right? What would a Scottish John Smith be? Jock MacDonald? I don't know. Like, the most... Like, it just sounds offensive, whatever it is. So you don't
Is it when he says that the wolf is beautiful, or...
No. By the way,
this is like the Whomoji challenge. I feel now you're...
But yeah, he said it's Dr. Jamie McCrimmon from Balamory, by the way, which was... Balamory was a kids' show on the BBC. So in Scotland.
Nailed the accent in that one.
Yes. What's the story, Balamory? Wouldn't you like to know? No, not going to do the rest of that song. But I am going to talk about the line, which is where they talk about the Kohinoor, the curse of the Kohinoor.
Okay.
Which we'll get to in the history corner later, why they don't accurately represent the curse of the Kohinoor here, or the Kohinoor, or Queen Victoria. They messed up a lot of historical stuff here. We'll get to it. But it says that, the Queen or someone says, like, anyone who owns it dies. The owner dies. And the Doctor says that's true of anything if you own it long enough. And it's just a throwaway line. It's funny, but what RTD says about that, he says this in the writer's tale, and he's like, it's funny, and but it's like a shard, and it goes straight to like an entire belief system of not just like, ownership of stuff, but also superstition about anything. Like, if you're like, oh no, that monkey paw is cursed, everyone has died. Well, like, of course, yes, that hand-me-down iPhone you got is cursed eventually if you own it long enough.
Yeah.
You will die. Next person to use it, whatever. Maybe an iPhone's not the best example, but
Final Destination. There you go. That's the I think the ultimate franchise built around that kind of idea.
But I gotta wonder here. First of all, I gotta wonder if we'll get to why the randomizer took us here, and is the randomizer trying to give us a sort of a bad wolf explanation for Rose being where Doctor 16 is at the end of the Reality War? Maybe the randomizer is saying there's a clue here. There's a clue here somewhere. Mm-hmm. But it also, might have sent us here for a number of reasons that I'm not quite remembering right now. But that whole sense of like, write it quickly, RTD. That's what I was thinking of. Write it quickly, RTD, as you had to do this one. And you can actually sometimes come up with better stuff than if you slave over an entire season.
Also, like, everyone so stepped up to just improve it. Like, obviously, the director we talked about. Also, the guest cast is quite good, too. Like, we talked about Father Angelo, but the people who play Lady Isabel and Sir Robert, which is Derek Riddell and Michelle Duncan. Anyway, not huge roles, but they're definitely memorable. And I think they definitely play them like a couple that's still fairly young and in love, right? Like, there's a lot of smooching between the two of them, but when they're in crisis, right? They're obviously, each one of those kisses is like they're thinking, this could be the last time I kiss my love, and so they do it. It happens again and again. Like, okay, get a room, guys. but then it becomes tragic when he dies, and she's sort of left there as the widow at the end. And there's the sort of final scene, which is very serious, when the Queen actually activates Torchwood, and so I think they do a great job of humanizing the whole thing. It's almost at the point, honestly, like, there's enough scenes with Sir Robert that you really want him to do even more in the final fight with the wolf. Like, the wolf comes up to him, and it would have been nice if he had actually made some kind of difference. Like, it was wounded and maybe he cut its leg and it was sort of limping, and that could be a reason why it doesn't just jump the Queen right away and there's more of a struggle. Again, it's sort of like, if they had more time, if they had literally more time in the episode too, that would have been nice. But it's a sort of a would be nice kind of thing. But like I say, everyone steps up, great cast. All the effects, like we talked about the action, but like the CGI. Now, first of all, the wolf isn't awesome. It's not that. It's okay.
It hasn't aged well
for the time. But
it's a bit long in the tooth. Yeah.
The CGI on the outside, which you barely notice because it's just kind of doing backgrounds for some of the location work, or not the lack of location work in some scenes, right? like a lot of those skies are CGI, and it's like, oh, I didn't know that. Honestly, it just looks like they're outside somewhere. And so they do some of that. They do some CGI with the manor and putting in extra stuff. So pretty good job on all of this, on sort of not going over the top with a lot of that. And it's really it's only the wolf that hasn't aged all that well.
Which is interesting.
And let's say last thing on the effects, the host before he is the wolf.
Yes.
Excellent. Really scary looking. This is why I had to sort of think about this, because it's been a while since I've seen Tooth and Claw for the first time. And honestly, it's been a while since my kids have seen it for the first time. But I remember when I showed this to Jack the first time, he was probably like 8 years old, maybe even 7. He refused to watch it after the scene where the host is brought downstairs. The first time you see him with the fully black eyes, he thought that's too scary. He was like, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. Like,
wow.
Not bad. Like, because it's not too scary. Like, I can see like 7 or younger, but it's like, now I watch this with Grace. She's 12. She's like, oh. Like, it was totally fine with it.
I'm with Jack on that one. Like, any time you have those, the totally blacked out eyes and anything, it's super creepy. It just, on a primal level, sends a shiver down your back. So I love that. Also love that they chose an actor who kind of looks like Edward Norton.
Right.
It really just sort of accentuates the sort of.
He just seems like a weirdo, doesn't
moment.
he?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, this is kind of a weirdo, and he's kind of got that gaunt, pale look, like just a bit stereotypical, but also smart. Like, yeah, this is definitely instilling some fear. Like, really good. So, honestly, scarier than a lot of the stuff they've ever done on Buffy. I'll say that. Yeah.
By the way, I'll just say on the special effects, there was a prosthetics company that was bidding to create a practical effects werewolf. Millennium FX, they're actually a really good company. So I really would have loved to have seen that version. And it's sort of a warning sign of like CGI can age faster than prosthetics, potentially. But yeah, while we were talking about Rose and the host, let's go straight to the bad wolf conversation that they have, which is, it's the first mention
of conversation or
bad wolf conversation, but it's also kind of a bad conversation, I think. I mean, it's like, so this is the first mention of bad wolf since Parting of the Ways, right? Did they mention it in New Earth or Christmas Invasion or any of that?
Bad wolf?
Yeah.
Not that specifically, I don't think so.
No. So it's just, I mean, it is unfortunate because RTD sort of set the template here for Clara, the Impossible Girl, being just sort of that whole thing being forgotten, except by us. We remember her Splinter every time. But like, she forgets it all. And like, this just sort of seems to happen to Rose as well, except for this bit, which feels like RTD is throwing in to acknowledge the fact it's a bit weird to have an episode with a wolf when Rose was the bad wolf, scattered signs of herself through all of time and space. And it's sort of hinted that there's a connection and like there's enough in that conversation.
Yeah, but what's the conversation you mean? Like, honestly, when did they talk about bad wolf specifically in those?
They do in that scene. They do talk about it. Like, I think the wolf recognizes her, or she says something like bad wolf. I will find it for
I don't think bad wolf is mentioned. It does.
He doesn't actually say bad wolf.
All he sort of senses is that she's out of time. Like,
yes.
Because she isn't really scared at the way the other people are. That he sort of understands that, oh, she's either an alien or someone from the future. It's not so much she's bad wolf.
Well, he said, so the werewolf says, look inside your eyes. You've seen it too. Rose, seen what? Werewolf. The wolf. There is something of the wolf about you, Rose. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah, you're right.
You burn like the sun, but all I require is the moon. What a pivot of a line that is.
You're right. There was that bit.
Yeah, so it's sort of like, oh yeah, I recognize you're a bad wolf, and Rose is sort of like, I don't know what you're talking about, sir. You forget yourself. I was never a super powerful being throughout time and space, destroying all the Daleks, making Captain Jack a fixed point in time. I don't know what this bad wolf you refer to is. No, it's something like, but maybe
it's kind of like, building connections. I guess it is kind of like wolf. Why didn't they mention bad wolf? I guess they kind of did in an oblique way like that. Yeah,
right. So
it's
oblique.
Fine.
It's fine. What did you think about the open? I'm just going to totally non sequitur here. The opening bit where they're supposed to be going to 1979. By the way, another mini history corner. They're supposed to be going to an Ian Dury concert in 1979. Ian Dury and the Blockheads, British punk band, best known for "Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick," which plays in the TARDIS, which I love. And Rose is like, "You're a punk." By the way, that was not actually the date that he gives. So he's going to go see Ian Dury in Sheffield. Not a date that Ian Dury played in Sheffield. Doctor, what are you even doing?
Well, not in our universe, Chris.
Good point. Good point.
You didn't mess things up back in the 70s, so.
That's true. 70s or 80s, depending on the dating protocol. That's entirely true. But yes, it's interesting the Doctor is trying to go to Sheffield here, would not actually go to Sheffield until... The Woman Who Fell to Earth.
That's the one. I like so this is the thing with the Doctor and Rose. I think it's one of the better things about this episode, because we like Tennant and Piper and they're great together. And but at this point in the series, we weren't 100% maybe on that yet, because there'd only been Christmas Invasion, which Tennant's kind of only in the last little bit, and New Earth. And that was a pretty good start, but it's still pretty fresh at this point. So there's a lot of sort of establishing of their repartee, or kind of reestablishing of it. So I think it was smart on RTD's part for people who might not have been convinced of Tennant as 10 yet to essentially make Rose okay with him. In other words, and they echo certain scenes. There's like where they land and they're sort of flat on their backs. The TARDIS lands really rough. And they're cackling, they're laughing together. It's basically, almost note for note exactly, I think, what happens in The Unquiet Dead at the very beginning. It's sort of very similar. Or it might be misremembering exactly which episode, but there's a scene with Eggleston that's very similar. And it just kind of throughout all that sort of repartee they have, the thing where Rose is like, I'm going to get her to say, I am not amused. I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch that she could even get away with that. And with her behavior and how she is with the Queen, but it is funny. It is something that sort of, again, keeps you kind of paying attention and coming back, because now it's like, oh, there's this really, besides you care less about the high stakes of the wolf and more about whether she's going to actually get that and sort of win the bet, which is kind of, it's again a nice clever device. And then there's all this stuff, the back and forth with them. There's good bits where he's like, oh, it's beautiful, and then they come back and, hey, werewolf, and it's like, yeah, they're all hugging. And again, it's a good little bit to do in front of the Queen, because that sets up the whole thing at the end. Which
they do. Speaking of them going back to the TARDIS at the end, they have this bit that I don't think you'd do today, where it's partly RTD being a bit sort of playful, and is he being a bit of a Republican by suggesting that the entire royal family is now werewolves? We'll get to why that bit is wrong in the upcoming
British Republican. We should just clarify.
British Republicans, yes, small r Republicans.
Well, he does make it a republic in Pete's world, right? That's the whole thing.
That's true. So. Yes. Yeah, so it does follow the idea of the death of the monarchy. But there's a bit where they're musing about whether the royal family is actually werewolves, and then Rose is like, no, they're not. Mind you, Princess Anne. What? Rose, that's so mean. And then the Doctor laughs at it. It's just it's a joke about her appearance. I get it. She looks a bit horsey. But you don't have to. I don't think they would have that in today.
Probably not. But Rose is a notorious gossip, and she does sort of the Camilla reference. I think it might be 2 episodes, Girl in the Fireplace. That's what
yes, she does. That's,
so yeah.
It's appropriate for Rose, I get it, but yeah. RTD. I don't think you'd do that today, but is it time?
I think it's time. That's a good transition to talk about perhaps some real life history as we go into the Pull to Open History Corner.
Ah, what a beautiful sound that is. It's the sound of history, folks. You hear that? That's the sound of history being put to rights. Yes, the History Corner, Queen Victoria and the Koh-i-Noor Diamond. Let's do the diamond, first of all.
Let's do it.
Because I don't claim to know a lot about that. Everyone in Britain knows about the Koh-i-Noor Diamond. Certainly everyone in India knows about the Koh-i-Noor Diamond and believes it belongs back there. Go see it in the Tower of London sometime, and you will see a lot of South Asian visitors being very upset that it is there, with good cause. It was presented to the Queen, and it did sort of have this myth that it destroyed like the male owners of it, so she don't really have anything to be worried about. That was the superstition about the Koh-i-Noor, only it destroyed the men. Now it was famously a bit dull. By the way, total history deep cut, RTD, the people who go fetch the box from the carriage when they first meet the Queen, the names of them are the names of the people the two officers who brought back the Koh-i-Noor Diamond to the UK. Okay. So it's sort of, if you know history and if you know those names, it's saying what's inside the box.
Oh, right? Okay, yeah.
So nice one,
0.05% of the viewers. We appreciate it. It's good.
Yeah. One guy somewhere in the history department pointed at the screen like Leo DiCaprio. Yes. So, but the Koh-i-Noor was famously dull. And it was displayed at the Great Exhibition, 1851, famous display of industry. And Prince Albert was not happy. The Queen's consort, Prince Albert, who died in 1861, and she's obviously distraught. She's in mourning here. But he was disappointed actually at how dull it was, and it wouldn't sort of reflect all the light at the Crystal Palace, the Great Exhibition. So he had it shaved down, and was disappointed at the result because somehow, I don't remember how this happened, somehow it lost like 40% of its weight.
Oh my.
Yeah, I think some diamond company, I think it was in the Netherlands, shaved a bit, scooped a bit off the top there,
Yeah. Where did that end up? Where did that 40% end up?
Right.
I don't know.
So Alfred was actually in real life upset. Albert was upset in real life about the Koh-i-Noor's shininess, which is why he got it, hived down. But I like the idea that he used it for this, even if it is just sort of replicating the end of somewhere we've been to recently, the Horror Fang Rock. It's basically the same ending with diamonds and a RTD with like 5 minutes left to write this kind of just did a Mad Libs with classic Doctor Who. He's like, yeah, let's do Horror Fang Rock, but for real.
I guess it maybe lends a little bit more credibility to that, the end of that one, because it's just, okay, so if you have a diamond and some fancy optics, you could just create a laser beam, I guess, and well, they did it again here, so why not?
Well, he should have been like, I remember something like this when I did the Routines, whatever. You just throw
I gotta say that was a little over the top. I will say the whole Jesus moment with the wolf, when it's zapped up and it's actually like literally floating, and you're kind of like, I guess you have to buy into the idea that it's not the moonlight per se, but there's some kind of overload happening with the wolf that's causing that effect. It's a little much. I mean, they did go a little too far with it. It does take you out of it a bit if you're looking for something a little more real. Again, I know it's Doctor Who and that's obviously not real, but it's also like you kind of want to, the suspension of disbelief required for that is a couple levels higher.
I love the idea that Tennant's watching that, taking notes for his performance in Last of the Time Lords, where he would famously be the Jesus Doctor who floated. Right. So it's kind of a call forward there, weirdly. But okay, no, Queen Victoria herself, famously in Britain, everyone knows this. She never said "we are not amused." It's one of those things that's attached to her, like Play It Again, Sam. It was never actually in the movie. But it was from the Times. It was, one of her household staff wrote a book in which he had her saying this. So it is contemporary, that it was sort of thought to be a line of hers, even though we have no record of her actually using it.
So wrote a fiction book, you mean?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Well, no, I think it was one of those sort of Romana Clefs
tell-all?
in between, tell-alls, yes.
Well, if it's like supposed to be a tell-all, like he's an eyewitness, maybe, how do you know she didn't say it?
All I know is it
Didn't say it publicly.
It did not outsell the Queen's Highland journals, which were very popular. But to get to the Queen, who, by the way, is a lot older in this time and place because we're in 1879. She's like she would have looked a bit more ragged than that. But she's not actually at this point in mourning for Albert. And this is where I would like to talk about the massive erasure that Doctor Who did with Tooth and Claw, which is they erased John Brown.
Okay.
Now, are you familiar? Are you familiar? John Brown's body is dead, but his soul goes marching on. No, not that John Brown. A different John Brown. A Highlander John Brown.
Oh, okay.
Are you familiar? Hey, Jimmy McCrimmon. Dr. McCrimmon here. No, so in 1997, there was an excellent movie that it was originally just going to be a BBC movie with Judi Dench as Queen Victoria, Billy Connolly as John Brown.
Nice.
The Highland
so
Gilly.
Far? Like it already?
Fantastic cast. Amazing. Highly recommended. I watched it again last night. It holds up. It's called Mrs. Brown because that is what Queen Victoria was called because of her super close relationship with Mr. Brown, who was a Scottish Highlander, real rough and ready, whiskey drinking guy. Billy Connolly is perfect casting in the movie for it. And he kind of shocks her out of her grief. But he was a friend of Albert's. He shocks her out of her grief. He takes her around, meet all the local people, drink a lot of whiskey. He would be live right here. And at this point, he's super. He sort of one of the ways he died was that he died of pneumonia because he was just so paranoid about the Queen's security that he'd go out in the middle of the night and go, shoot up potential Fenian terrorists if he thought he heard a branch cracking or whatever. He was serious and also very drunk, but serious. So we're in the John Brown era here. He didn't die till 1883. So the thought that he would not be here in the Highlands with her, providing her security, absolutely stretches credulity.
Must have been, but only explanation is he was incapable. Maybe he was ill or injured or something like that.
It's possible, but you at least throw a line in because at least everyone in the UK after 1997, after this movie came out, I think it probably won a couple of Oscars as well. Everyone knew it. Everyone knew about John Brown. I think this was also around about the time, get this, they found Queen Victoria's coffin in her hand.
Oh my!
Hidden by a bouquet is a lot.
I thought a coffin was in her hand.
Yes,
anyway, in her hand. What was in her hand?
Attack of the 50-foot Queen Victoria. No, in her hand, zombie Victoria. No, in her hand was a photo of John Brown and a lock of his hair. Oh, that was buried with her.
Speaking of true love.
Hidden by a bouquet of flowers. So it was secret instructions. But not Albert's hair. We know that she loved Albert and he got her out of this werewolf mess. But John Brown was her true love. So justice for John Brown. Doctor Who now RTD. You need to go back and you need to write a John Brown episode. So bring Tennant back as 14. Let's have a 14th Doctor adventure. He can go. Maybe Billy Connolly will want to do it. We can. That would be fantastic. I'd love that. Love to see Tennant and Connolly in the same thing. So yeah.
Wow. There you go. There's a 14 adventure coming up. I love it. It answers where. It doesn't really answer, but it questions where John Brown is. That's a great question, as I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell our folks listening that there are some other questions, but we need to answer those questions, and those are, of course, the 4 questions to Doomsday. Scary music. Okay.
Yes.
First question: why did the randomizer take us here?
I think the randomizer wants a dog. Or the randomizer is Bad Wolf and is trying to signal that to us. Because, check it. We've had, Invasion of the Dinosaurs, it's a little pet-like. But then definitely the Happiness Patrol and Fifi and the connection to this bad dog. And the Queen being bitten by one. By the way, one other thing I was going to throw into the history corner, the whole thing about the werewolf bite creating the royal disease, the haemophilia, couldn't be accurate because it was in Queen Victoria's kids from before 1879. So, yeah.
Oh my.
Not actually for real there. But yeah, so the randomizer definitely wants to draw attention to dogs. It's very interesting to look back at this, to look back at Tooth and Claw and consider that those were not the only teeth or claws wrapped around the TARDIS. Because of course Sutek was there all along.
The dogs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, you think about it, like the Minotaur, if you consider that a dog, dies. Fifi dies. The werewolf dies. I see a recurring theme here. Chris,
Dog death.
Dead dogs.
Dead dogs.
Not 7 billion.
Dead
Just
dogs.
3 dead dogs.
I love it. If you don't know what we're talking about, go back to our podcast on Flux, which has my whole 7-minute rant on the 7 billion dead dogs in Flux that we never get to see. But yeah, the randomizer's into dead dogs. It couldn't take us to Flux because we've already been there. But it's doing the next best thing. We may have a bingo on. Do we have a bingo on dead dogs? No, that can't be possible.
Maybe.
That can't be possible.
First, shout out to Caroline Merck on YouTube for reminding me about the dead dogs.
Dead dogs, yes.
Yeah, but the other thing I had was that I love the outdoor scenery in this one and the work they did on it. I think it's really great, and it sort of emphasized how little there has been in the stories that we've done up to this. There were a little bit in Invasion of the Dinosaurs, but Time Monster was. If there's any location work, it was very, very little. And like Happiness Patrol was all indoors, basically. Even it's not technically, but it's so go outside, Doctor Who. That's all I have to say to it.
We did mention at the end of the last podcast, but if you missed that, the one obvious connection is between the Happiness Patrol and We Are Not Amused.
Oh, hello. Very nice.
That's right.
Dot connection.
Yeah, and I got to say that the Doctor and Rose in this, they are pretty damn happy. They would not have been gunned down by the Happiness Patrol. Queen Victoria, for sure, would have been thrown up against the wall for not being amused. But no, the TARDIS team, they're into it as much as the Doctor and Ace were.
Okay, well, now we have to move on from all the mirth to something a little more Haiti. It is, of course, the second question. What if the evil plot had succeeded?
Well,
I guess my first question is, did it succeed?
Did it succeed? It did nick the Queen.
Nip the Queen, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Well, okay, so first of all, how would it have succeeded more? I mean, I think the intention is that if they bit it, it would have taken over the Queen, and you get Empire of the Wolf,
right?
Which is basically Michael Moorcock style, steampunk Britain that you do get a little bit of in Pete's World. You can see the connection, right?
Yeah, that's true. Although Pete's World sort of seems slightly more moral in some ways because there's less secrets, like Torchwood actually is sort of open. In that world, I forget exactly what they say in Army of Ghosts or Doomsday. We'll get to it when we get to it. But that would be you're exactly right, is that's the success, because apparently the wolf's killed, and it's obviously it's killed, and it only nips the Queen, but the host says before it transforms that it wants to migrate to the royal person or the bloodline. Yeah. So it doesn't ever do that. And she just sort of becomes maybe a werewolf, and maybe that comes out later with the kids. I mean, I guess you could say, like, if it actually migrated, then that becomes much more deliberate. That it sort of seeds all of this lycanthrope stuff in the royal family, and then perhaps in the government, and then at some point all of that covert stuff flips to being covert to overt, and it would take a while to do that. So I think you could have done something as almost like a season-long arc where where that's actually like the success. And so then like the big reveal in 2007 or 2006 is, hey, everybody's a werewolf and the werewolves are taking over. And now that I'm saying that out loud, I'm kind of glad they went with the other, what they ended up doing. A little more Doctor Who.
The Doctor does have a line. It's unusual that we get in this question, the evil plot succeeded, where the Doctor outlines what happens if the evil plot succeeds. Victorian age accelerated starships and missiles, fueled by coal, driven by steam, leaving history devastated in its wake. And we would also have to say accelerating climate change.
That's a lot of coal.
Yeah, that's a lot of coal, people. And if the Empire of the Wolf is like, we DGAF about this planet, let it warm. We're just going to mine all the coal because that's where the infrastructure is, Don't bother introducing them to solar panels. They won't be able to manufacture them.
Or nuclear, at least. I mean, come on.
I don't know.
Yeah, why not?
Yes, let's have nuclear power on this wolf-dominated planet. Let's give to the humans something that they can fight back. No, I don't think that's what would happen. Also, I've got to say that maybe the pivot point for the evil plot succeeding might come here in a couple of things that I kind of wanted to talk about. First of all, werewolves are not said to be allergic to mistletoe. That's just an RTD invention. So maybe they're like, you fools! You think you can stop a Sideman Gold? You can't stop a wolf with mistletoe. But also, I like to think that there's a scene where Father Angelo is shot by the Queen, but you don't see the body.
True.
You don't see the body, and it really, when you're used to a lot of TV, it does sort of feel like it's setting you up for that trope of like, oh, he's going to come back at the end. And that's what I was thinking when I was rewatching. Like, does Father Angelo come back at some point? Is that how the Queen gets nicked? Or I couldn't remember how it happened, but it sort of feels like that's, if you don't see the body, you're expecting him to come back. So I kind of feel like if we want a plot succeeding pivot, he comes in at the end and he's like, oh, you thought you could destroy me, Queen? And then he throws up his robe again to reveal a bulletproof vest.
That'd be kind of cool. I mean, again, I think if they extended this one and did a little more plot, that might have been good. But as it is, I do like that bit because she gets to be a badass. She kind of pulls out her gun and gets to actually kill who we have been thought to believe is actually the chief bad guy. So it gives her a lot of points and credibility. I think that works really well.
We just needed a corpse, Yoslin. That's all we needed.
Alrighty, well, we need something else, and that is
not a corpse.
Not a corpse. We need to know where another character might be, and that is the third question, which is, where is the Clara Splinter? Clara Oswald, of course, splintered in time at the end of The Name of the Doctor. She's somewhere in every single Doctor Who story. Where is she? In Tooth and Claw.
Taking images of Rose to project forward in time to when the 15th Doctor regenerates. No, she's... I got to say, because of my... anger at the John Brown erasure, that's where I'm going to focus my Clara attentions. Clara is keeping John Brown out of this. And I think because something even more terrifying than Werewolf Queen Victoria would be like Werewolf Billy Connolly. Like, he's already half werewolf. And John Brown, very rough and ready Highlander. I think if you want an Empire of the Wolf, you give it to John Brown. You do not want him nicked by that werewolf. You do not want him, because, the whole Mrs. Brown thing was like, he's kind of running the country anyway at this point because the Queen's so in love with him. He can get away with anything he wants, and he's kind of advising her on a lot of issues. So, she'd be the figurehead, he'd be the wolf. So I think Clara needs... I think there's probably another version of Tooth and Claw where John Brown is there, and things go very awry. So the Clara Splinter has to come along and make him indisposed, or get him drunk on whiskey, or take him walking up Highland Fountain,
wow,
distracting him in some way.
You're not only inserting Clara, you're inserting John Brown into a whole alternative version of this script. It could be easier than that, though. It could be, what if she's his mistress, and that's why he's not there? So it's like he's just getting some alone time with Clara while
Oh my
Queen's off
God.
somewhere.
My God, John Brown.
Oh my God,
What are you-
Clara, come on.
Clara, well, I mean,
Better
look,
than that.
she's I forgive her, like she's
Right.
naughtiness embodied. But John, the Queen loved you, man. What are you doing with this wee naked beastie who's probably showing her elbows and her knees and all sorts?
Yeah, well, I was thinking maybe it was something a bit more benign, perhaps, in that. So the Queen is making this pilgrimage to the royal jewelers somewhere in Scotland, right? And why go so far? Why aren't they in London? Well, I think they're obviously the best of the best in the world. Well, why would they be the best in the world? Maybe there is a splintered version of a future Doctor Who companion who's bringing modern techniques to these jewelers that make them amazing for 1879. I think that's possible. So maybe she's like the chief jeweler of this place. What do they call them? Haler and Carew or something?
Carew, yeah, which is not where the Kohinoor was hove down, but that's okay.
It is in the Doctor Who universe, Chris. That's where
right.
it is.
I also like the idea that maybe Clara is responsible for like all of the missing bits of the Kohinoor, like the reduced weight. Like she's secretly returning it to India bit by bit, sliver by sliver. Is the Clara Splinter, because the Doctor's realized Doctor's not usually into trinkets, you know. We saw what he did in Planet of the Dead with Athelstan's cup, you know, and he like throws out the jewel in that, right? You know, and jewel thief in that and all that stuff. Not into jewels, we know that. But yeah,
There was one other plot hole I was trying to sort of get her to fix, but I don't know if it would. I couldn't really think of anything that good, because it's like the monks are in red and they're all outside and they're making sure no one escapes. And what happens to them at the end?
they die.
Do they? Like, when did that happen? You know, like,
Oh my God!
where did they go?
Crouching tiger, hidden Clara. Is that what you're suggesting?
Maybe
Like,
she takes them out somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe she's.
Ooh, deleted
know?
scene where the monks are like walking away from Torchwood Estate. It's like, whoa, that was a lucky escape. What was up with that dude with the weird face? And he trained us in martial arts for years. And like suddenly there's this whistle from over a hill, and there she is, Clara, in in the martial arts pose.
I would write the scene that she does like this crazy stuff and they all get squared up to ready to do battle with her, and then she has just some kind of stun gun.
Yeah, she just pulls out a gun.
Snaps them all and they're all like asleep. All right, I'm done here.
Oh yeah, it's an Indiana Jones moment. She just
Exactly.
like rolls her eyes, just shoots them. I love it. Shoots them with a fun gun, perhaps, because this might be a Clara Splinter direct from Terra Alpha.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know the fun guns had stun settings, but they better.
Paints them pink.
We're moving right along. We're getting to the final question of our 4 questions, but we're going to do that after I tell you all about our newsletter, which you can subscribe to at pulltoopen.net. That's right. You can subscribe to all of our thoughts on our random episodes, which will come at you every Saturday or every other Saturday. Whenever we have new content is when you're going to get them. And there's always stuff that we don't get to, so there's some fresh content in there. And it is a great way to be reminded, hey, we have a new podcast. You just get an email. It's great.
That's
Super
right.
convenient.
I'm a subscriber to this newsletter. It's pretty good. I'd love to meet the writer one day.
Get lots of photos in it, too.
Nice
stuff. Thank you,
Nice,
Black
yes.
Archive.
If you too want your Queen Victoria portrait, your Pauline Collins Queen Victoria portrait, I'm sure we'll include something like that there. Go check it out. All right. Time.
It's time for the final question. The ultimate question, the only question that matters for Tooth and Claw. What did we think of this story? The Pull to Open rating system has 7 ratings. There is the Dalek, which we give to a good episode of Doctor Who. There's the Ogron, which we give to an irredeemably bad episode of Doctor Who. There's the Professor Hater, which is a not-so-great episode, but hey, at least they tried something. The Viscount Banger, which we reserve for the best of the best. The Fixed Point in Time, which is a show beyond rating, usually for reasons of nostalgia. The Lady Cassandra, a paper-thin plot, but hey, at least it looks good. And the Zarbi, a script so bad, it is actually good. What do you say about Tooth and Claw?
Well, if we were just rating cold opens, it would be a Viscount banger.
Absolutely.
If we were rating titles, it would actually be a Viscount banger for me. I didn't get to this in the podcast, but the title is from a poem by Lord Tennyson, Nature, Red and Tooth and Claw. But it's specifically a poem that Queen Victoria said comforted her when Albert died. So there's that connection there. Nice job, RTD. Nice one. But the story itself, I normally do hybrids. I'm not going to do a hybrid this time. It's a Dalek.
Okay. Oh, wow.
It's a big old hairy Dalek.
So it's a good episode of Doctor Who.
It's a good episode of Doctor Who. It's a were Dalek.
Yeah. I'm mixing it up a little bit. I'm not doing a hybrid, but I'm because again, I think the story is a bit thinner than you might remember. I'm actually calling it a Lady Cassandra because it looks amazing, especially for the time. But like that cold open alone, like earns like points throughout, and then again, like all the direction we talked about. It just seems like even some details, which I honestly didn't even notice until I was sort of listening to the commentary, but. The room where the telescope is, sort of the observatory, like it's not at all fancy in the slightest. Like there's exposed brick and there's marks in the brick and there's like stuff all over the place, which is kind of like, oh yeah, this is exactly right. This is, even though this is kind of a manor and a rich person's place, it is it's a quirky workshop. It's not a fancy scientist place, which I thought was very smart. So all these choices in terms of design, in terms of art direction, in terms of direction, all of it really adds up to something great. But I'm actually putting a bit of a higher bar on the Tennant episodes. I think because he has so many amazing bangers. Like I feel like it needs to be a little bit higher. For Mother Doctors, this would probably be a Dalek. But for this one, it's it's pretty good. For Doctors, for Tennant's just okay. And if it's just okay, I'm gonna just sort of demote it a little bit. Also, my daughter had a good thing to say about this, which is to say she's like, she liked it, but she's like, yeah, but it's not. She'd seen it a few times, and she'd be like, it's not something I can watch a million times. It's like it's fine. Like I didn't mind watching it with your dad, but it was like I would not have asked to go see this one, if it didn't go on the podcast, which is like, that's fair. It's there's a lot to recommend it, but it's not the greatest. So I'm giving it to Cassandra.
Lady Cassandra, very appropriate given that Cassandra's in the previous episode, New Earth, but yes, oh my God, it's a chav.
It is.
Of a rating.
Folks.
Yes.
If you're on Spotify, it's your turn to vote. Oh, yeah. That's right. Remember we did the poll at the beginning? Now it's your chance to vote for Tooth and Claw. We will report the findings in a future episode of Pull to Open. So keep on coming back.
Yeah, come on back, folks, for more fun nerdery of both the Doctor Who and the history variety. Yeah. But pausing only to note that we now have a Queen Victoria bingo. Because it is in Curse of Peladon.
No way.
Yeah, we did. Well, as far as I know, mentions the only other mention of Queen Victoria in Doctor Who is in Curse of Peladon.
Wow.
Where he mentions having gone to her coronation.
All right. Cool.
So, yeah. Queen Victoria bingo, everyone! Yay! Thank you. We've been pulled to open. We've been a random Queen Victoria podcast. It's now come to a close. No, we still have a lot of Doctor Who left to go, so we have to step back into our TARDIS. And what's this? The controls seem to be set for an Ian Dury concert in 1979. Let's go there. How about that, Pete? Let's go there. No, you know what? That song, Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick, my dad was very annoyed that I went around singing that song as a kid, the age that I was. It was, I think he thought that it was ruder than it actually is. There are literally rhythm sticks, people. You hit drums with them. Anyway, love that song in 1979. But no, we're not going to go to see concerts, which is like, this is the first admission that that's what the Doctor is doing with his TARDIS. Like exactly what I would do. Go see the great musical performances of all time. Like, it's amazing that between this and like I guess Devil's Chord is the next time he's like suggesting going to see a musical group. It doesn't seem to be
something in between.
Probably something in between, but like,
I feel like that'd be a Capaldi thing.
Definitely a Capaldi thing. You know that first thing Capaldi did, he went into he did every single Ian Dury appearance. He worked his way up, through all the famous guitarists. Anyway, no, we're stepping into our TARDIS. We are not going to random concerts. We're going to random Doctor Who episodes. So, Peter's the controls of the Codex, which gives us the readout of what the number is, the magic number.
Yeah,
of stories left to go to. What's the magic number, Pete?
The number is 171 Doctor Who stories yet to do. So just over half.
171. So I plug that number into... Oh, yeah, we're getting close to the halfway point. I can smell it. I can smell it like a wolf.
It was receding away from us for a little while there, but now, no.
We're going to get into the 160s, and then we'll hit that one halfway point. We'll have a special show,
that's
I'm
it.
sure.
Once we hit the 160s, it's half.
That's half. Oh my God, we're 2 episodes away.
According to the Codex, there are 321 individual Doctor Who stories. That might be a little different than other counts you have seen, listener, on other places, but that's because we're smarter than everyone.
That's right.
We have a better grip on the stories.
We do go back. We have a whole episode where we just talked about that. If you really want to get into the nerdery of our spreadsheet, if you too are a spreadsheet nerd, go check out that podcast. But no, wow. I feel like it's all downhill from here in a good way. It's just all going to be easy. Halfway point, man. Anyway, well, I'm going to stop being wowed by that. I'm going to get on with the business of firing up the randomizer, which means that I'm at random.org, which looks at atmospheric noise, which is actually the amount of lycanthropy that is being beamed through the atmosphere via a wave of light. RTD certainly reused that idea for Lux. It bounces atoms bouncing around in the upper atmosphere much better than computer-based randomness, which is just algorithmic and rubbish and not truly random. Now, the last time we issued our pleas to the randomizer, we said, give us some sweets, give us something sweet. I said, give us something with jelly babies. It didn't listen. No jelly babies in this. You said you wanted some form of Candyman-like dessert,
True.
I believe.
Something like that.
All we got was like cold cuts or something in in the castle. So not a lot of great food in that. But what would you like to ask the randomizer for this time?
Well, funny you should ask. So, as this is kind of a scary episode, this one was Tooth and Claw, appropriate for the time of year. But the next episode of Pull to Open will be the one that is done right before Halloween. So let's amp up the scariness, randomizer. Why don't we get something either truly scary, or I'll even take something with scary words in the title, i.e. terror. Or fear. I'll take fear, or whatever other vocabulary you think might be fearful. That's what I'm going for.
Okay. Fear. It's time, isn't it? We're going to go to fear her.
It's good. Could be time.
Yeah.
Keep us in the same season.
That would be. It would. Yes, and that would be a way to mark the halfway point. Thanks, randomizer.
I just realized if it wants to instill fear in us, it would take us to the Daleks' master plan.
Yes, it would. I didn't want to say it, but
I wanted to say it to jinx it, so then it doesn't happen.
Yeah, good point.
Now that I've predicted it won't happen.
Good point. I mean, what do I want more from here? I kind of want more good direction, good lighting, that sort of stuff. But I'm actually going to say, I'm pretty sure there must be another episode where the Doctor talks about going to see a musical group.
Okay.
And this may be, it's maybe a triple Yahtzee kind of situation, but hit me with it, random.org/randomizer.
Let's do it. I'll give you a countdown, and then we will find out. In 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, we are very not amused. It's 21.
Oh, early on. We are early on.
Is
and
it?
we are at, oh my. We are at the Ice Warriors.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot going on there.
That's what I get for bringing up Curse of Peladon.
That's right. Yeah. There's some fear.
Some
of missing
fear.
episodes.
Yes, definitely some fear of, deep breathing and lots of
Yeah, I'll have to check this out. I know, obviously, a bunch of episodes were famously recovered years ago. And I'm not sure where. I think the other two have been animated, so it's been released. And
all right.
so, but that, I'm going to have to hunt it down a little bit.
I love it.
Yeah,
time for some trouting. A little, and a little of both. A little animated trout and a little real life.
Yeah, and I'm excited because I've actually never seen this one because of its it having been missing for so long. It was recovered after the 90s, I want to say, maybe 2000s.
And in terms of Ice Warriors, have we done anything other than we done Curse of Peladon and we did Seeds of Death?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So not our first Ice Warrior rodeo, but the original, you might say. Ice Warrior rodeo.
Exactly.
Yes, good old Brian Hales. We'll go see what he's got for us. And we'll go see if any of those Ice Warriors have sharp, pointy teeth and big claws. And whether any of them have Scottish accents, I very much doubt. But this is Mr. Jamie McCrimmon, is it not?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Hey!
That's what that randomizer was listening for.
There we go.
Jamie Bridge, we've got it. All right, folks, we've got it and you've got it. That is to say, you've got Pull to Open on your listening dial on your podcast. Go ahead and follow, subscribe if you haven't done that already. But the absolute best thing you could do to support the show is to share it with a friend. So please do that if you know anyone who would enjoy this delightful commentary on Doctor Who, or at least the Whomoji challenges. Thanks all for joining us. Thank you, Martin West, for our music. It always makes us sound just a little bit more professional, and we love it. And we will see you next time for the Ice Warriors.
Expect a lot of this when we do it. Bye, guys.
But at least no accent.